All right, it looks like we're getting ready to get started. Oh, I'm getting the thumbs up from Bob, so yes, it looks like we are getting started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the voice actor panel. Obviously, many of you were here earlier for the Everyone panel, since you have your questions already prepared. Do we have our volunteers from earlier? Same volunteers? Stand up. Where are you? Where are my volunteers? They're not here.
I volunteer.
You can't volunteer, no. Oh, okay, fine. Didn't see this one coming. Well, for those of you who don't understand what's going on, who weren't here for the earlier panel, the way we're handling questions is you write the questions down on the index cards, and you pass them usually to volunteers, but in this case you pass them to the wonderful Tabitha St. Germain. We are also joined by the fabulous Britt McKillop. And I'm going to mess up your last name. It's Ralph Strike like baseball. And what folks might not know about you is that you are, in fact, the voice of Angel Bunny. They're thinking about it. They're figuring it out. You are the agent for pretty much, what, 75, 80% of the MLP cast? Many of you, I'm sure, came to his panel yesterday on...
Yesterday,
yes. Everyone enjoy it? I'm stalling for time whilst the questions are collected. What happened to my wonderful volunteers? Thank you. All right, well, this is enough to be getting on with, and if people wish to volunteer to help pass out the note cards and pencils or to collect them when people have written the questions, by all means, I will love you. Thank you. Okay, here we are. There's water right there if you'd like it.
That was exactly like exercise.
A shot of marshmallow vodka. You know, it'd been really funny if I would have filled that with marshmallow vodka.
All right then. Yeah. Shall we get started? I think we should.
Yes,
Yes.
please do.
Before we do, though, if there are any children in the audience who would like to be a little bit closer to the action, if they'd like to come and sit up front so that they can get a good view of everyone, and or not, you can stay where you are if you'd like as well. It's not mandatory. Small children up front.
Oh, here comes the gorgeous Luna.
Yes. Oh, here they come.
And here comes a rainbow dash. And here comes a spiky wikey.
Big round of applause for all the kids who've turned out for the con. Where did Bob go? Bob, next year we need to get some milk and cookies, I think. Put that line item in the budget. All right, while I have introduced these wonderful people, but while I am sorting through the questions that have come in, I am going to ask them a very broad one and see where they take it. I would like to know how you got started as performers. What first drew you to performing? And I'm not just saying voice acting, I'm saying performing because I know that you also sing, you do stage work. Between you, you've actually got most of the dramatic arts represented. So when did you first realize that's what you wanted to do, and what were the circumstances?
Well, Sven, I think you might want to answer this question, because you've been an actor since the old days in Sweden, and started the Swedish National Theatre as a water boy. And no?
Oh gosh, it's gonna be fun. How I got started.
How did you get your start?
How I got started was, well, I mean, I've been kind of singing my whole life, so I think my first love was music. And my sister and I started acting at a very young age, 2 and 4, and did musical theater growing up. And I think it was when we were about 13 and 15 that we decided that we really wanted to make a career out of it, you know, for the rest of our lives and make that our career. So, yeah, that's how I got into it.
How many people in the audience are fans of a little show called Dead Like Me?
Such a fan. Such a fan. Totally.
Would you mind talking a little bit about your experience, what it was like working on that, while I stole for time organizing the questions?
Sure.
Thank you.
Well, I was in a show called Dead Like Me on Showtime, and I auditioned for that when I was about 8 or 9, and we did 2 seasons, and it was fantastic and a very cool show. So if you haven't gone and watched it, you should. It's just fantastic writing and yeah, really great show. So I was just blessed to be a part of it. So yeah.
It's a treat now that it's all out on DVD. You can just watch the whole thing in one fell swoop. It's awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool.
It may come as a surprise, but I was a little socially awkward when I was a child. So I really liked anything that was a bit escapist. I liked being in my imagination. So I loved being in the theater. My very first role was Tiny Tim in A Christmas Carol. And also the little boy that said, "Why, it's Christmas Day, sir." And and then I was kind of hooked, you know. I got laughs. I got the approval that I very much desired when I was a little kid, which can actually be the actor's disease as you grow up. But it's a great place to sort of prove it and let go of it and just not care about that anymore. So that's sort of how I got my start, was being in the theater. And I also loved to sing, and eventually I got sent on voiceover auditions when it started to become a thing in shows like Alf and Beetlejuice and the Super Mario Brothers and, you know, the early stuff when you guys were all unborn.
They're so dang old sometimes. Anyway, y'all talk amongst yourself.
This is quite a dangerous question to ask, but I feel it needs to be asked. This is for Brit. How does it feel to be best princess? Hashtag shots fired.
Just take it.
Okay. Wow, well, that's an honor. Thank you to whoever said that. Yeah, that it feels pretty darn good, I have to say. Wow, go me. Go Cadence. Nice.
I'd just like to thank all the little people. World peace.
There was a question earlier, actually, in the earlier panel about Cadence and your favorite part of the process of bringing her to life. So what was that favorite part for you?
I mean, I've said this a lot, but I really do mean it. Getting to sing, getting to be the singing voice behind Princess Cadence. I got to do kind of a Broadway-style voice. I don't get to do that often. I sing country music, so that was so cool. I felt like I really was able to bring her to life in the moments where I got to be her singing voice. That was very special for me. So.
And speaking of country music, you were at, with your band, It's One More Girl. Mm-hmm. Yes. Last week, you were at a music festival, if I'm not mistaken.
We actually sang at a pretty historic place in Nashville called the Grand Ole Opry. So we got to see, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, we got to sing there, and that was pretty cool. And yeah, one that will last me a lifetime, that memory, I think. So.
Since the writers earlier were plugging their books, are there any albums that you would like to plug, or any announcements there about upcoming work that all of these people can and will and should buy?
Well, you can go onto iTunes. No, I mean we're on all the social media, Facebook and.
You've all got your devices. Come on, chop.
Facebook, Twitter, all that, and we have an album out. I'm not sure that it's available yet in the States, but we are on iTunes, I believe. So that's probably where you can find us. Our name is One More Girl. That's our band name. So my sister and I.
I think it's clear that you're all in a bit of a silly mood from the tenor of the questions that I'm getting here. but I'm obliged to ask some of them. So what would you do for a Klondike bar?
Is this a bar in the Klondike? Because for a bar in the Klondike, I would hug a bear and cross a glacier, evidently. But if it's the chocolatey, strange confection,
They didn't specify.
I might have to just pass it along.
I'll pass it along too. I'm not really sure how to respond to that. But, good question.
Excellent question.
Ralph, what would you have your clients do for a Klondike bar? What would you put in their contracts? Oh, Mike, do we have a...
Is this a contract to be the spokesperson for Klondike bars?
For them to be, can you say your question again?
No, I'm just...
Yeah, you're
Don't
just
even
messing
worry
with
about
me.
it. I think we'll move on to the Klondike bar question. Incredibly important to My Little Pony, though it is. This is an interesting question. Have either of you ever ad-libbed lines? Do you have any kind of control, or is it all very much stick to the script?
I have never ad-libbed a line in my life. I would never divert from the script. I would never say something that an author has not said that I can say. Over to you.
No, I generally stick pretty close to the script. I do, and I'm not very good at that type of thing.
Rough. I like to improv, and if they let me, I sometimes do it anyway because something will just come to mind, and more often than not, Terry says, that's just weird.
I have to say, it's really cool to watch her in the studio. I'm just saying, it's pretty darn cool. Tabitha is pretty awesome.
Thank you. I'm going to buy one more girls' album immediately.
There is one thing I can add, and I think for some of you that were at my panel yesterday, I showed Tabitha's demo, and one of the last spots is when she was the voice of Olive Oil. And it was quite funny because I was telling everyone the importance of preparation, and I still remember that day. This was back when we had to fax sides, and Tabitha comes running in my office, and I need the sides for Olive Oil. I look at my watch, and our audition is in like 10 minutes, and I said, you haven't looked at them yet? And she goes, no. Zooms out, and then the next day I get the phone call, and who gets cast as Olive Oil but Tabitha, so the ad-libbing definitely works.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think, given that answer, this question kind of goes without saying, but have you ever broken out laughing in the middle of a recording session?
I have never laughed at a recording session before in my life. I do not find this humorous. It is a job. I show up and I say my lines and I don't bump into the furniture and I don't wear my hat so that they hit the microphone. Over to you.
She's
Actors.
the one keeping us laughing the whole entire time. I'm trying not to laugh because I feel like I'm always seated next to Tabitha and I'm having to do this because she's so funny.
Aye. If you could voice act any character from any piece of media, who would it be? Dream role.
I would like to play Bianca Castafiore in the Tintin franchise.
Tintin fans in the audience?
The opera singer.
A few.
I would like to do something in Asterix. The stuff that I loved when I was growing up. Those books, the Hergé Methuen, French stuff. I'd like to do some of that stuff.
Anything? If you
Dream
voice
role. Any role you like.
anything? Uh-huh. Oh my gosh, any princess from Disney. I mean, dream come true. That would be a dream come true for me. Never would happen, but
Well, never say never.
This is why you are best princess. You are a princess.
You're killing me. If you were stranded on a desert island and had one pony with you, who would it be and why? Parenthesis, no magic teleporting off or flying away, with a nice little drawing of a palm tree. I'm not kidding, it's right there.
Ralph.
I would choose Fluttershy. Because she would keep me calm, because I'd be panicking because I'm on the island. So she would keep me calm,
Right.
so I wouldn't panic.
That's good. Fluttershy fans?
I'd choose Pinkie Pie because you'd always be entertained.
I'd choose Zecora because I think she'd probably have the greatest chance of surviving with her knowledge of the local herbs and plants and I like your organization.
Thank you.
Can Rarity say, "Oh, it is on"?
No.
We had this question earlier, but I think we can revisit it. Whose question was that? Because that was a kid, that last question. Who wanted Rarity to say, "Oh, it is ah"?
Oh, I think that deserves the best question toy.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
So we had this earlier, but we should revisit it because perhaps the answers have changed in 3 hours. Which character is your favorite to play? Yeah, if you can or had to pick, which character is your favorite to play?
Which character's your favorite? It changes by the minute. But I have to say, I really
Do enjoy the sound of my own hooting voice when I'm being Granny Smith. Yes, I do. Respect your elders. And that's all I'm saying. Don't make me throw my best teeth at you.
This is from someone with the name of Age 12. Oh, no, that's their age, sorry. Do you prefer voicing Rarity or Luna more, and what was your favorite experience while voicing them?
I prefer to voice Rarity because because Luna changes. She's, well, you know, it's the moon. It goes through phases, and so, in fact, do the writers. So it morphs, and so I'm not always sure what the age is, or I'm not always sure of it, but I'm always sure of Rarity. She's at least I'm sure, and then I discover that the writers think different things, but that just all adds to the melting pot. I sort of think of her as a Miss Piggy of the pony world. So that's where my mind is with it. You know, the elegance and so forth is lovely, but it's tempered by an inner pig. I think people are going to be leaving in droves in about a second. I should stop talking. Over to you.
So another question for you, Tabitha. This is from Mary, age 10. Mary,
Hi,
age
Mary.
10, everybody. And this is a question about your favorite role, Granny Smith. Where do you get your inspiration for Granny Smith?
Well, I get my inspiration from the inner collapse of the bodily functions. I get my inspiration from the chopping yard. I get my inspiration from hay and apples. I get my inspiration from a good old country chew. I get my inspiration from deep in the bottom of a casket of apple cider by times. Tell no one. Next question.
Mary, age 10, do you find that a satisfactory answer? You pleased with that?
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. Phew. I was so worried about being judged by Mary. Age 10.
This is for Britt. You've done VA, live action, and singing. Which do you prefer? And I think you answered that with singing, but perhaps not. No?
Oh, gosh, that's so hard to say. Because, yeah, I said before music was my first love, but I mean, I can't even answer that. That's such a hard question to answer. I don't know.
Thank you. I've been handed a card by Tabitha St. Germain, who is throwing her co-guest under the bus. Scrawled on this card are the words, "Ask her to sing."
Oh, no!
Shall we encourage her? You could sing together.
Oh, yeah, I can. Put her on the hot seat. Well, I did this a little earlier, but I'll do it again. This day was going to be perfect, the kind of day of which I dreamed since I was small. Thank you.
Ralph, is there anything you'd like to sing?
That's why I'm not a voiceover performer.
Yeah, Foley, did you want to sing a little something?
I'm good for it later when there's karaoke. I need the backing track. Are you kidding? That's a hard act to follow, folks. Would you want to follow that? No. My little pony, my little pony. Are you satisfied?
Brave soul.
You only get the one. Favorite episode?
Dog and Pony Show. Still, yeah.
And why? Oh, obviously why, but...
Oh, I don't know. It's so much fun to be dragged into the mines by a bunch of dirty dogs and asked to dig up stones. Isn't it?
We do have children in the audience, you realize.
Well, it did happen.
There was actually a question in here. They were quite keen on you whining, if you would be so kind.
I take umbrage. Ladies, do not whine. This is whining. I was complaining. Complaining is completely different than whining, which I do not do.
So this is a question for both of you. How much experience in general acting do you need to really get into voice acting? How do you sort of bridge the gap in styles between the two? How does your approach differ between voice acting and, say, stage acting or film acting?
I mean, they're so different. It's so different being on a film set and being in the studio. I think it's quite a different experience. But I think they're both, I find that they can both be equally as difficult. Like, I work just as hard in the studio as I do live on a set. I think you put so much energy into it. So, I don't know. Tabitha, what do you think?
Well, you have to be stiller as an on-camera performer, which I don't really feel too qualified to do. It's very different doing stage. Obviously, you need to be able to project, and that's a very different, kind of much more open-hearted. Like, it's a much more a give-out thing, and I think in film you sort of it's more sort of you're in a receptive state. And voiceover, you bottle yourself. So you don't send, even though your energy might be flying all over the map, you have to be just in front of a microphone. So it's a sort of a contained madness, and it creates incredible tension in your body. So you can just end up aching like a pancake. But the tension, the amount of tension that you keep, and the amount of focus that you keep and the ball of rolling laughter that you never let out, because you let the audience let it out, is the thing that sort of differentiates, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's very serious work. There is no laughing ever, as
There
we've
is
established.
no laughing. We don't laugh in the studio because nothing is funny. We say the words as they are on the page, and we do not hit the microphone, not even with our hats.
This is a question from another child. If you could voice another character from My Little Pony that you don't voice, who would it be? P.S. You guys are awesome and talented. Smiley face, heart.
This question. Okay. I know that you are a young person asking, but it's a little bit like saying, whose husband would you like to marry? Whose baby would you like to steal if you could? Because they're already taken. And, I wouldn't, with respect and with love, I wouldn't want to take anybody else's role. Sometimes the roles will drop away from someone and you do get them, and that's a different sort of circumstance, but generally speaking, I'm not gonna, if I said I want to play Twilight Sparkle, can you imagine the fallout?
Say it, I want to see the fallout.
Fallout Equestria.
Nicely done. I've been sitting on this question for a while.
Oh, is it warm? There's the line.
Sorry. Angel Bunny is my favorite vaguely evil rabbit in the show. Ralph, how do you get yourself in character for voicing this role?
I call up Vincent Tong, and I get him to do it for me.
Good answer.
Evil carrots.
This is to everyone. Fun? Question mark.
Yes, please. Oh, no. Do we know what this is?
That's the too many Pinkie Pies.
Oh, it's the too many Pinkie Pies. I've often wondered if a sort of a madness, because I've seen this happen. It happened in Finland, and I thought, Finnish people are very strange. But I didn't realize it was the too many Pinkie Pies, and now nothing.
There was actually a question in here about your experience at the overseas con. It was Crystal Con? Crystal Fair?
Crystal Fair.
Crystal Fair.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Oh, it's so awesome. Finland, I think everybody knows by now. Dan, you were there. I have a crush on Finland, and I have a crush on the Finnish people. And the weird thing is they're kind of like Canadians with a funny accent. And too many vowels, way too many vowels. We would just go into the grocery stores and we'd see like the labels on the things with like 20 vowels in the middle of it. And we were like, there's been a consonant famine. It's like Canada. It's bureaucratic. It's freezing cold. And people drink too much, and they are conservative, and they have this great accent, really great accent. So I dug it all to bits and pieces. And Daniel partied with the whole country. Daniel was in a sauna with all of Finland. So if you want some scuttlebutt, there it is. Silence.
This is dead air. I'm trying to build the tension. No. Dear Princess Tabitha,
Oh.
I'm a voice actress in training, and I basically want to be you when I grow up, but there's so much negativity and I get discouraged. Any words of advice? Your faithful student, Hannah Kay.
Well, Hannah, banana,
Hot.
fofana, shmamana. The thing is, you can't be me. The job's taken. I would love you to be the fantastic version of yourself. I would say take classes. Take classes because, as I've said probably a million times before, when you haven't been down a road, it's really, really good to just have some protocols. So your mind can rest, because the mind is always going to go into anxiety. You know, if you're going for a television job and you just don't know what the angles are, it's just good if you know that in this circumstances I choose this, in this circumstances I do that. And you may discard all of that later, but it's really, really good to have some kind of map. So I would say do that, and I would say play with your own media at home. Everybody has recording devices on their iPhones and their computers, and it's so available. Put it on YouTube, put it on Vimeo, make a lot of noise, listen to the beautiful sounds that people make and the really unusual voices that they have and the turns of phrase that you think are interesting, and use them. And we welcome you, Hannah. Thank you.
Britt or Ralph, were there any words of wisdom you wanted to add to that?
Well, I think I had mentioned yesterday as well that I think it's impossible to do well in this career without some form of training. So it's not, you don't have to get a BFA in acting, but improv is great, theater is great. You can even go onto Craigslist and go down to the film and TV tab and see if there's a student project that you might, or there might be an independent video game, and that's a great way. The more you work, and with this group and how you're connected with email, you can get together and with the various comics, play amongst yourselves. But the more that you sort of develop characters, I think the more that will help you build up your confidence.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just got some great advice from two of the best in the business, so.
Thank you.
This is also a question about the biz. How is your time split between working, auditions, looking for work, or, in other words, how much time is work versus getting work?
Yes. We audition, it's almost every day, isn't it? But we tend to, whereas in the old days you always had to go for every audition into a studio and put it down on tape there. Now people do their auditions at home in their underpants in front of Skype. Or on their iPhones, I record mine in my sauna on my voice memo, which is not advisable, but
It sounds surprisingly good.
Yeah, I know.
It actually sounded better than her friend that was staying with her that was recording it on a really
studio.
expensive microphone.
Yeah. Voice memo is amazing. So yeah. Did we answer that?
I think so.
Oh, good.
Audience, are you satisfied with that? Good. We have a question from Sydney Herring. I think that's Herring, age 9. Sydney, are you in the audience? There you are.
Hello, you.
That's a wonderful outfit.
It
Can you
really
stand
is.
up and show the audience if you're not too? Round of applause. And her question is a classic. What is your favorite color?
Ralph, what's your favorite color?
Orange.
Really?
Shocked. That used to be my favorite color. Yeah. I have two favorite colors, purple and red, but like a dark red.
I have lots of favorite colors too. Moss green, I think, is my very favorite color. That sort of lime, vibrant moss green. I love that color. I love colors, though, just all of them. I could eat them with a spoon and eat a fork and put them on the floor and roll in the colors and then put them on the wall and then nothing. And I love purple as well, and I love cherry red. I like your clap there, you, Mary. Very good.
I have two for Tabitha.
Oh.
I'll do this one first. Tabitha, are your hats in fact giant?
Are my hats, in fact, a giant?
My hat's in fact are giant. I put them on my head. I wear them on the outside, and I wear them to bed.
Who asked this? Was that?
Whose question is that?
Whose question was that? But I hope you like the answer.
You have won an autograph.
What was the part you were
No, it's all right. And the next question was?
The next question was, did you see, and if you did, what did you think of WWE performer John Cena? Cena? Cena. I'm sorry. Really, I'm a huge WWE fan, as you can tell. WWE performer John Cena impersonating Rarity. Did you see that, and what did you think of it if you did?
No. Is that a wrestler? That's a wrestler guy? That sounds very intriguing, but no, I haven't seen it. If anyone wants to do an imitation of that for me right now, I'd be quite happy to see it.
No brave souls?
No brave souls?
Nah.
Anyone? Questions? Comments? Concerns? Did you want to do an imitation? Yeah?
Oh, good for him.
That's worth an autograph. Come and grab one.
There's one left. Come on, darling.
Don't be shy.
Come on, Miss Shy.
Although, actually, do be shy. It
Do
goes
be
with
shy.
the...
After that performance.
You can keep asking. Any other questions?
There are some other questions here. Who?
Thank you, Miss Shy.
Oh, round of applause.
Thank you.
I have a feeling that the answer to this question is that you can't tell us, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What is the new show that made you late to the con, Tabitha?
I'm not allowed, right? Can I say who's...
Who's in it?
Lee Tokar is in it, and Samuel Vincent. No, I really...
Vincent Tong.
Yeah, I know.
Say that.
Vincent Tong, Samuel Tokar, right. I think I might be getting tired. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, I can't say anything about it, but it's awesome, and it's a Netflix show? It's not a Netflix show. It's a Netflix.
Yeah, we can't say that.
It's a moose.
It's a moose.
It's a moose.
Yeah. It actually ties in with that question. How many non-disclosure agreements are you under at any given time? Is it hard keeping those secrets?
I have never broken a non-disclosure agreement. I take my contractual obligations very seriously, and I never say things out of turn. I also never say things that are inappropriate or wrong in any way.
I've just been handed the video of John Cena whining like Rarity. Shall we?
What? Seriously?
Apparently.
We're going to watch TV while you watch us watch TV?
If there's one thing that I can't stand more than anything else, is somebody that comes out here week after week, day after day, and whines and bitches and complains, and then whines a little bit more until they get what they want.
What?
It's an embarrassment, and you are embarrassing yourself. Pump the brakes for a second. I don't come out here and whine every week. That's not whining. This is whining. Keep coming out douche with so much orange fake tan. Doesn't he know it's HDTV?
Okay. That's pretty remarkable. So, do you think that that is a brony or a coinky dinky? Oh, you think so? He's a ruffian. Okay.
Nightmare Nights does not endorse the use of naughty language. You have to be a professional
Please
wrestler
do
if you
not.
want to do that.
endorse the use of naughty language. We never say anything stronger than sugar.
Oh, sugar honey iced tea.
That's very strong language, young man.
Oh my, so many questions. I think we might actually be running. Oh, we have 6 minutes left.
6
Speed
minutes.
questions.
Worst possible thing.
Night. A.
How do you read your handwriting? Oh, it's not your handwriting.
It's not my handwriting. I'm going to hand it to you.
I'm not really sure what that says.
Oh dear, see what I've done now?
We've done it. Oh, we've done it. Might you give your wonderful ponies...
I think they would like you to do a Princess Luna Nightmare Nights.
The nightmare will last forever!
I'm sorry if I scared your child.
Does Princess Cadence have anything to say about that?
Anything to say after that? Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot. Does Angel Bunny have anything to say about that? I've got a question here. Did you know the movie in which Tabitha played a witch was playing in the hotel lobby earlier?
Oh.
Which film was that? Which film
Was that
was
Scary
that?
Godmother? Is that what that was?
Somebody said something to me about Scary Godmother yesterday.
Well, it might be Scary Godmother. She gets around this time of year.
Question here for the voice actors. Well, okay. As opposed to the other people on stage. How much time does it take for you to tape each episode?
That usually depends. It can range from, I don't know, a couple of hours to 4 hours to,
Our call is usually 4 hours.
usually
right?
4 hours, but
We usually use about 2.
yeah.
Unless there's a bunch of brand new characters and stuff that.
Or if
And
there's
if they're
pickups
singing.
or something like that.
if they're
But
singing.
generally
And singing, yeah.
speaking,
Yeah.
2
Yeah. On the first day of a show, they have you for 8 hours, and yeah. So, but thereafter, it's usually 4, and this show we have a shorthand with, and we get through much faster than many others.
A related question. Do you find it hard to transition from one character's voice to another?
From one character's voice to another. Do I find it hard to transition to...
I don't know. It's quite a strange question.
I think that some people find it quite hard because they don't drink enough cider. Cider's known to revive the vocal cords and to moisturize the filaments in the...
What's going on over there?
I'm being handed more questions for Angel Bunny, but thank you very much for that.
Thank you. Angel Bunny.
A question from a child. What music do you enjoy? Does music inspire a character voice? And that's for both of you.
oh my gosh, what music do I enjoy?
Aside from your own, which is again available for sale on iTunes, Amazon Music.
I have to say, when it comes to music, I don't just like one genre. I love all genres of music. I can listen to pretty much anything. And I think all music can be inspiring, and I get a lot of my inspiration from music. I get through most of my life with music, so yeah.
Well,
It's for the voice actors.
You can answer if you'd like.
yeah.
Who would like Ralph to answer the question?
What do you listen to?
That inspires me?
Yeah.
I really enjoy listening to, I guess, Afro-American women would be like Mary J. Blige, Alicia Keys. I think those would be,
Yeah.
I think most of the women that I would listen to fall into that category.
Yeah. Awesome. like it all, I gotta say. At the moment, I'm kind of on a Bollywood kick. So, yeah. But I like it all.
We are almost out of time, so I will finish this with another broad question. Do you have any sort of questions or words of wisdom or anything you'd like to express to your fans?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if I have any words of wisdom, but I don't think I've been able to say this yet to all of you. Thank you for everything that you do and for creating this whole thing. It's been such an incredible experience for me, so thank you.
I just looked at it and it drooped. I like you all so much, and you're so colorful and so beautiful and so much fun to play with, and and I'm really glad that whatever this peculiar confluence is, that we all got to meet each other and hang. So that's what I'd like to say.
And that concludes the panel, so let's have another huge round of applause for our guests, Tabitha St. Germain, Britt McKillip, and Ralph Strike.